What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video. Today it's a review unboxing of this beautiful monitor from Samsung G91F DQHD. This just got released. It was on pre-order. I got it for a pretty good deal. It was a total of $719 after tax, free shipping, with a $300 Samsung credit. And then that's if you have EDU. So basically this would come out to around $400, you know, if you combine cash back, you know, maybe even less. But out the door it was $719. I think I have 4% cash back from my credit card due to it being Samsung, and then the EDU. So $400 for a 49-inch monitor is a pretty good deal. Now, I am coming off also an ultra-wide, which is the LG ultra-wide, which is 34 inches. So it's not like I'm coming from two monitors. I already have an ultra-wide, and I love it. So I decided, you know what? Why not upgrade? I'm always interested in a 49-inch. It might be an overkill, especially for my setup. As you know, for the ones who watches this channel, I'm in a very tight space. But I figured that the picture-in-picture is going to be beneficial for me for work and also for editing at the same time. So I can multitask. And maybe this big form and a curve of 1000R, which is just aggressive curve, would be something that I would benefit off compared to my 34 1800R. So we'll take a deep dive on that. The mount, because currently I am using a stack mount, which, you know, this is a 100M. So it technically fits from what I'm currently using. However, it does fit, but it's a bit heavy because it's 49 inches. So that's a no-go. Ports, you got 2 HDMI, 2.1. You got the headphone jack as well. One display port. I don't know why there's only one display port. 2 USB. And then the bottom part, you see that stick right there. I don't know why it's not a joystick. It's more of a button. The base is pretty sturdy. It's nice. It's made out of metal. The only complaint I have is that it's a little sticking out. You can see it's pretty. It can handle this big monitor. It's not glossy. It's matted, and then the arm right there, it's made out of metal. And like I said, it is pretty tough, and it's easy to assemble. So you got it backwards. Initially, I tried my mount. That's a no-go. This is way too heavy. So I don't trust that. I probably need to buy a bigger mount. I wouldn't do that at the moment. I'll just use this stand. It is a bit tricky. It has a notch on the top, so you kind of have to finagle with it, you know. And then once you do, you're gonna insert the back part. It doesn't have any RGB lights on the back, so there you go. It just snaps on, and then when it does, you'll know it. It would make a click, and then you'll see it secured. Initially, I was just like, what's going on? And then that rubber behind, the one that I'm holding on the base itself, it is for wire management, you know, cable management. If you have some, yeah, this is a big monitor. Just take your time, and you can see the R curve makes it a bit tricky. And then you get the back panel for, then you just snap it on there in place. And there's also the bottom part, which I didn't. But I just want to showcase the aggressive 1000R here. Well, it's not too aggressive. I really like it. It's immersive. Just a view from the top from my setup as well. You can see how curved that is compared to I don't have the LG anymore, but that's 1800R. Just a little curve. This one just wraps around. So the menu, this is very important. And I'm a bit disappointed, honestly, because the way you access the menu of this guy is through that, I wouldn't even say joystick. There's a menu that you know, just press at the bottom, and it's so much easier on the LG. In here, you can see the different options that you have on the picture mode. Right now, it's set up to custom, but there's several. The bad part is in 2025, it doesn't have any option for a software compared to my LG, where you don't have to really press the button. And even if you did, the LG one has a joystick, which is a lot easier to navigate. There's just one button, which is the joystick in the middle. You go on top, bottom. This one is 5 buttons, up, down, left, right, and then the center button for the OK. So anytime that you're going to change a setting, you're going to have to manually do it, it's crazy. The fact that Samsung doesn't have a software like LG, I think that's eco mode, not eco mode, something like that, on screen display, and it doesn't have even the black levels. You can only access through HDMI. Should be DisplayPort, you would think, right? But I don't know. It's 2.1. I should have tried my PS5, but with this super widescreen mod, not all games are supported, so I didn't even try. And this is the picture-in-picture mode, which is one of the deciding factor why I decided, because my older one, although it's a lower model of LG, never had that feature. So I constantly have to switch. To be fair, that was easier to switch inputs between HDMI and at work while I'm working. I gotta switch between HDMI and DisplayPort. Looking back at it now, that might be an easier task. Now, for multitasking, because you have a super wide monitor, the real estate that you're working with obviously is bigger. So you technically have two 27-inch screen in here. So the height is still going to be the same size as the 27. It's the width. Obviously, you don't have the bar in the middle compared to if you have two 27-inch. The upside to that is that if you have two 27, that might be 4K. This is QHD. However, it's still HDR 600, HDR10 for gaming. You can see the specs. I'm going to put it, we're not going to talk too much about the specs because you can see that on the website. But for practical use, as you can see here, you can easily fit 3 screens in here. Like if you're watching video on one side, browsing in the middle, you still have ample amount of screen for editing or doing work, so technically when you're doing work, you do picture in picture. But in here, this is the bad side. If you are watching YouTube and you made it full screen, it's still not full screen. You'll still have that edge on the side, but you can kind of work around it. If you just do the theater mode. For videos, there are a few videos that would support 32:9. I mean, this is ultra wide. There's 57-inch now. So this is one of those videos. I'm going to fast forward this video because I don't want to get copyrighted, but the picture quality is pretty good. It's not, this is not OLED. So this is a regular LED monitor, 144 Hertz. Like I said, all the specs, you can visit the website. The colors are pretty good. Now this is, the contrast in here is coming from a camera, so the darks are deeper than it should be, but in person it's not as deep as LEDs like OLEDs. It's still kind of grayish. This is a VA panel, non-glossy, so you just full disclosure there, this is for gaming. Now I'm running Warzone in high. For some reason my computer can handle it, ultra settings and all that, even though this is like a 2-year-old computer. I'm running a GeForce RTX 360. This is not G-Sync compatible as well. I still plan on getting an OLED, some premium monitor down the line, but I'm gonna wait till that kind of settles down or see what the 3D offers, because like right now Samsung has this 3D monitor, but you can see here it's serviceable. The colors are pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting more because I was using a lower end gaming monitor from LG, and I feel like the blacks there are deeper. The color here is a little bit better, but just a little bit. It's not and I'm using this. I don't really game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am an old school gamer, so you can see this is like an old school game. This is what the Company of Heroes. I think this is the peak of my gaming, PC gaming. Back then, I still do Warzone here and there, but mostly on PlayStation 5. I just want to sit down on a couch and just kick my feet up and all that stuff, like not hunched down over my desk. I do most work here and, editing, so I don't really want to play here. But in those, few times, then, I don't mind playing here. So this is where I would go to or play. So now with the ultra wide, you can see you have so much room. You can kind of see the entire screen. Now, if you also want to minimize this, like let's say you have it there, it's flickering now, but it's, you could adjust, the window, work on the other side. You have several options because of how big your monitor is. Now we'll look at the picture-in-picture capability, which is my main selling factor for this guy. So you can see I have my laptop right here. This is not my work laptop. This is just my regular laptop. I don't want to share any maybe sensitive information from work. But when I'm working, and I'm working from home, half the time, sometimes when you're not busy, you kind of want to, squeeze in a little bit of edit here and there, or maybe just browse, or maybe render a video here and there. Normally, back then, I have a smaller monitor on top when I had my 34-inch monitor, but I because of no picture-in-picture, I gotta constantly go back and forth, and I always feel like I'm gonna destroy my joystick from LG. So I was just like, I didn't know that Samsung never had a software. So that is one downside of this monitor. So in here, you can see the color has changed differently. The one on the right, the monitor one, is using a 1080p. I actually just change, I can change the display settings here to make it 24p, which is, like it's a QHD. And then on the other side, it's a different resolution as well. You can see the Welcome to Hawkins is cut in half, but you can see the color. It is serviceable. Like, you could make it work. Again, it's more than enough screen size for work, even though it's only half of your monitor. And on the other side, it's more than enough monitor as well to make it work as far as, doing other stuff, maybe editing pictures, editing videos, or uploading and all that stuff. So in here, the only downside as well is if you turn off this laptop, it doesn't auto detect. So it doesn't go back to just the single mode. And so you can see here, the color is different when it's not picture-in-picture. And that is pretty much it, guys. This is final thoughts on this monitor. It's a pretty good monitor, depending on the price. And this is the caveat of how much you're gonna pay for it right now. At the time of this video, it's $900, and then if you have EDU email, it's $799. I wouldn't buy this for $799. I would just add $200 and get an OLED monitor. Honestly, there's a little bit of buyer's remorse for me because I thought that I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. I thought it was going to be a big jump quality-wise from my $200 LG monitor to this, because technically this is like a $700 monitor. It's not. Outside of the additional 15 inches of size, it's not. And honestly, I don't really mind. I mean, it does help, but I think for me, the sweet spot maybe would be 39. Honestly, it's big, it's nice, but it's a little too big. I'd rather have two monitors. I'd rather have the stack setup that I had before. I mean, I'm going to keep it. It looks pretty cool. As you can see, the colors are vibrant. I chose this specifically because you have blue on the other side. You got red, a little bit of highlights, lowlights. Again, the contrast, the blacks are not too deep. So I'm not a big fan of that. But with that being said, it looks great. For the price that I paid for this, for $400, it is a better deal for my LG. But with that being said, if it's not what I paid for, anything above $550 or $600 for this guy, they have another model of this, which is 240 Hz. that went on sale for pretty much the same, a little bit more. I mean, the hertz doesn't really bother me all that much because I don't game on this, but maybe my next monitor would be OLED and a little bit smaller, because I honestly feel, and it's nice to have this screen, but I feel like I don't really need this much real estate. As long as it does have a picture-in-picture, I think even at 34 or maybe 39 inches, I could make it work. So I'm not too mad about this because of the price and with the 2-year Samsung warranty as well, but you know, it depends on it's not for everyone. But let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions, if you need to know something as far as this monitor. The quality is great for gaming, multitask. The picture, maybe it's just me, maybe I was just expecting a little bit more, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. Especially for the price that I got it for. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you like this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.